Maverick News presents The Rick Walker Show.
Good evening, Maverick family. I'm Rick Walker. Welcome back to the Maverick News Channel. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, new viewers. Thank you for joining us here on the Maverick News Channel, wherever you may be watching from around the world. A woman has been sentenced to 22 years in jail for sending a letter laced with poison to Donald Trump. And yet, I see nothing about it on mainstream media, almost nothing. In the United States, it is getting coverage in Canada a little bit because the woman has partial Canadian citizenship. Well, she's a Canadian citizen, but dual citizenship. 22 years for trying to kill the President of the United States, and barely a peep from the mainstream legacy media in the US of A. It's not just what they tell you, it's what they don't tell you. I guess they figure it's just not that important because, it's just Donald Trump. We'll tell you about it here tonight, along with a bunch of other stuff. We have a special guest joining us shortly. Lawyer Mark Alexander will be along to discuss his defense of Rhonda Jubinville, who I'm sure, if you watch this program, you are now very familiar with Rhonda, a counselor here in my hometown who has made international headlines for a few different reasons, but most recently as a freedom fighter. She was opposed to special interest groups flying flags outside government buildings and put forward a motion that was defeated where she wanted only government flags to fly outside government buildings. It turned into this whole LGBTQS plus pride flag issue, but she was really trying to just have government flags flown outside government buildings. Anyway, we'll give you the details on that from the lawyer's perspective. We'll find out what Rhonda's legal options might be now that she is being reprimanded by her colleagues on the local council who have docked her 3 months' pay. She has to work for the next 3 months with no pay. There's a lot to talk about there, and we will get into other freedom-oriented issues with her lawyer, Mark Alexander, as well, because he has also defended and continues to represent, I believe, some doctors who have run up against the College of Physicians and Surgeons because of their views on certain freedom-oriented things that I'm sure you are familiar with, but because we are on certain platforms, we can only say certain things right now. When we get into that portion of the program, we will be leaving YouTube and Facebook. I will post the Rumble link in the description. Well, it already is in the description, but I'll post it in the chat so that anyone watching on the censorship platforms will be able to click on that, put it into your URL bar, and head on over to Rumble at the appropriate time. Other stories tonight: wildfires still burning up in the Northwest Territories, threatening the community of Yellowknife. We'll get you some information on that. And the situation in Maui, it continues to evolve. And Ron DeSantis, man, is he a target right now or what? Trump has done a number on him because Trump saw him as his main threat. And he has been doing everything he can to neutralize DeSantis. The other GOP rivals have really benefited from that. And tonight we'll show you how and why. And then, if we have time, I'm going to show you what Pierre Poilievre is doing to Justin Trudeau. It ain't pretty. Very effective. Justin Trudeau. Yeah, he's talking about doing a number on Ron DeSantis. Pierre Poilievre did a number on what I would say was he did a number on a reporter yesterday that was just epic. We ran it on the show. I didn't comment on it because we had so much other stuff going on. But holy Toledo, did Pierre Poilievre score points yesterday with a response to a question from a reporter who, in my view, was really just there trying to do a political hit job. And he saw it coming, got out his baseball glove and just caught that fastball and then just threw it right back. It was beautiful. It was a beautiful thing to see. And it hasn't stopped there because Poilievre is ramping up his campaign targeting Trudeau, but he's doing it in a very smart way. And I'll show you what I mean about that when we get to it later on in the broadcast. Also, if you're into cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin, all that kind of stuff, there are certain cryptos that will soon no longer be traded in Canada. And if you have Bitcoin, if you have any kind of crypto and you deal with Binance, you're going to want to stick around because I'm going to talk about that a little bit too. You need to get your money out of there. Toot sweet. Stay with me. I'll be right back with more here on the Maverick News Channel. Don't go away.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News, Maverick News. Defending free speech, free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
Okay, so this woman tried to send Donald Trump a letter laced with ricin. Her name is Pascale Ferrier. Ferrier. She's 56 years old. I have to tell you, when you look at this photo, stare into those eyes, scares the living crap out of me. Here, let me show you. It's in the thumbnail, too, for our program tonight. It's our lead story, and it should be, except on the one channel where we're featuring the feature interview that we have coming up with Mark Alexander, the lawyer. But on many of the channels, we're featuring this story because it is, I think, it is the lead story. But look at the eyes. Maybe it's just the photo, but there's something cold about what I'm seeing there. So this person has been sentenced to 22 years in prison because she'd sent a poison-laced letter to Donald Trump when he was president. So there was a plea deal back in January But DC District Court Judge Dabney Friedrich didn't sign off on it until today. So Ferrier is French born and pled guilty to a total of 9 biological weapons charges, each one of which could have produced a maximum sentence of life in prison. But the plea deal was struck and she got 22 years, which is kind of the equivalent of a life sentence in Canada. But anyway, this is a U.S. case. She was arrested at the Canada-U.S. border back in September of 2020 and was charged with sending Trump that threatening letter, which was laced with the homemade poison ricin. It was intercepted. That letter was intercepted 2 months before the presidential election. And she described Trump in the letter as an ugly tyrant clown and urged him to give up. So out of the 9 charges, 8 of them are tied to an indictment in Texas, where Ferrier was accused of sending letters that were very similar to that to police and prison officials there. And that had something to do with an incident in a parking lot or something where she refused to leave. And then she responded to that. And she told the judge, I guess, during the proceedings, that she doesn't view herself as a terrorist. She views herself as a political activist. The judge kind of disagreed. Oh. And so now she's going to the slammer for 22 years, which, might serve as a lesson for many people. If you're not happy with the political situation, you might be better off voting instead of doing stuff like that. Else you might end up behind the bars like she has found herself. She's in the slammer. Yeah, I don't know. Would you call that extremist trying to kill Donald Trump? Remember Kathy Griffin and the head being held up? Comedian, ha ha ha. When people talk about things like that, I don't really find it that funny because, you see, when somebody like Kathy Griffin holds up a head with blood dripping off it, even though it's a fake head of Donald Trump, which was very distasteful to say the least, it does put ideas into people's heads. And I'm not saying that this person was necessarily motivated by that, but something certainly got in this person's head. Anyway, she'll be preoccupied and restrained for quite a while. Won't be hearing too much from that person for at least the next, couple of decades, unless they let her out for good behavior or something. And these days, with the way the justice system works, who knows? That could happen. Get out early for good behavior or something. Because the world is weird and upside down. And this isn't really news, but it is kind of reality, twisted, upside down. Here's a little sidebar. I just found this online as I was scanning all the social media sites. This post: best female swimmer is a male. Best female cyclist is a male. Best female runner is a male. Best female Jeopardy player is a male. Male wins Woman of the Year. Male wins Women's Beauty Pageant. Yeah. The world is upside down. What can I say? Except that truth is stranger than fiction these days. All right. Trump. Grand jurors officials in the Trump Georgia case apparently say that they are facing threats after indicting Trump. So I guess it goes back the other way too, man. Like, so now you had this woman trying to kill Trump by sending him a letter with ricin in it, and then people on the other side are calling up these jurors who voted to indict former President Donald Trump, and they say they're receiving threats. And you can believe it or not. I believe it. I believe people are calling them up, threatening them, because there are a lot of people out there who get crazy ideas in their heads and do things like that. On just politics aside, they're just people who get emotional and really emotionally invested in things. And I believe that it's happened. I believe that it's going on. The Fulton County Sheriff's Office is aware that personal information of members of the Fulton County Grand Jury is being shared on various platforms. That from the Sheriff's Office. In a statement that has been issued, it goes on and says, as the lead agency, our investigators are working closely with local, state, and federal law enforcement agencies to track down the origin of threats in Fulton County and other jurisdictions. They're taking the matter very seriously, as they should, and are coordinating with our law enforcement partners to respond quickly to any credible threat and to ensure the safety of those individuals who carried out their civic duty, the statement continued. So the FBI is also investigating. Well, I don't know how much good that will do. The FBI Atlanta is aware of the threats of violence against Fulton County officials. So all that's going on while Trump is posting on Truth Social and prepping for his news conference on Monday, where he says he's going to lay out his whole case on the election, and his legal team is advising him to cancel that. But he won't. He won't. It's not his style. He'll embrace it and everything that comes with it. Oh yeah, he'll do his news conference on Monday. Of that you can be sure. Doesn't matter what his lawyers tell him to do. The smart thing to do from a legal perspective is to shut up. But he ain't going to do that. Nope, not Donald Trump. Not Donald Trump. And, I can, again, only say so much here on this channel. So I'm going to save some of this stuff from Trump for a little later in the broadcast. What we'll talk about right now, because some of it's pretty colorful, and we'll get into the other candidates as well and their response to all of this. What we're going to get into right now is this wildfire thing out of the Northwest Territories in Canada. Bad situation there still. Just going to bring my notes up here, but I know that we are looking at over 200 fires burning across the Northwest Territories right now, and the community of Yellowknife is in danger. So 20,000 people living in the community of Yellowknife are being or have been evacuated. The evacuations are underway. A landmass 4 times the size of Prince Edward Island has now burned in the Northwest Territories. The result, hazy skies, a lot of smoke. Word is that that smoke is likely to spread east into other parts of Canada by this weekend, so over the next couple of days. And here's a bit of an update from a news conference, online news conference, and public information session involving first responders, firefighters, public officials of all kinds from that area, talking about the situation in Yellowknife. Let me bring this up for you. And here we go.
safe. Moving on to Yellowknife, I want to be clear about the wildfire situation for folks as they make the difficult decision to leave their homes. There is a possibility that this fire reaches Yellowknife without any rain by the weekend, the outskirts of Yellowknife. And by Friday, there is a possibility that without rain, that fire could reach the Ingram Trail. This is a very serious situation, and our teams are coping with a lot out there. I did want to share some good news from today. We've heard a lot about visibility challenging firefighting efforts out on the Yellowknife fire, out here, the Yellowknife and Becheco fire, and the Ingram Trail fire, and the Deta fire, all of them that are encircling this area. But today, we were able to get out and fly. We had 7 air tankers hitting targets on the east of the fires, ZF-15, the Becheco Yellowknife fire, and we had crews out there, and they were able to get some good suppression work done. We do expect the fire will have progressed slightly further to the east by the end of the peak burning day tonight. However, we think that the suppression work has done its job in slowing the growth towards the city. Now, I do want to look forward a little bit. Because as folks are leaving their homes and heading to a place where they're going to be watching their community and a wildfire nearby anxiously, I want to talk a little bit about the plans that we have in place to help protect Yellowknife, Dilo, and Deta and the area. So I'm gonna share an image here. Of what the plan looks like in the Yellowknife area. So in conjunction with the city of Yellowknife, we are setting up an extensive line of sprinklers and high volume water systems surrounding the city. These systems are intended to discourage ignition and to protect structures if wildfire does encroach. The area in yellow is a control line where we'll have crews on the ground cutting kilometers and kilometers of line with fire retardant laid down to provide important base for operations and for us to use all the tactics at our disposal to keep this community safe. Now, some of the tactics we're considering work to head off the fire with fire towards the east, or towards the west. I apologize. This is one tactic we can use, but I want to assure residents that we'll be using every tool at our disposal. We'll be looking to direct attack that fire as is possible. We're going to be looking to slow it down, and we're going to be continuing to do good work on the ground to slow the spread towards Yellowknife. Now, I want to stress the importance of the city of Yellowknife in this plan. The city of Yellowknife has been working shoulder to shoulder with our team as we work to protect this community as we face down this unprecedented wildfire crisis here. Now, I did want to give a little bit of context on how we got here. Some may be asking, why are we doing operations so close to the city at this point? The reality is we've been fighting this fire for well over a month, and this fire has burned deep, it has burned hot, and it has found ways through multiple different sets of established lines that we have established since it began near Maui Lake. This is a sign of the season that we're facing and the extraordinary conditions. It's a sign of the built-up fuel in the environment, where we've seen buildup index levels reaching nearly 200 in some areas of this fire, and well over 150 in others. Now, for context, 90 is considered extreme in that instance. And this is one of the things, this along with the fact that the weather has not cooperated for us, has been what's made it so difficult to manage this fire. And in closing, as folks prepare to leave their homes and watch from afar, I just want to reiterate our commitment to you and the things that you care about in Yellowknife, Dilo, Deta, and the Ingram Trail. I did want to touch on the Ingram Trail and Deta as well. The news today is primarily about Yellowknife. However, work is being done to protect structures in the Ingram Trail area. And as the fire has continued to grow eastward away from Deta over the past few days, We've been doing good work out on the landscape to protect cabins, lodges, and the like out there. And we're going to be continuing to prepare for additional operations in the future on each of those fires, laying retardant line to give us a base of operations, and head off those fires however we can. Thank you, and thank you for joining us. And my thoughts are with everybody who's leaving the city today.
Yeah. Yeah, very serious situation there still. In the Northwest Territories, it has been an unprecedented season for wildfires. And apparently, Justin Trudeau finally, saying he's going to take a trip up there and take a look around. Okay. Maui, the people in charge there are defending the decision to not use sirens during the deadly wildfire there. A Maui official defending that decision, saying that not activating the sirens during the emergency response is something that he is not sorry about. Now, what's the reason for that? They are saying that even though the sirens are listed as one of the tools that can be used in the event of a wildfire, they have not been used in the past and were not used in this case because they were afraid or they were worried that if they did use them, the signal would have led people straight into the fire, because they generally head for certain other areas, because the sirens are also used for things like tsunamis. And so they're saying that if they had used the sirens, people may have not interpreted the signal properly, and they would have run straight into the fires instead of away from the fires. So instead of the sirens, they were using or relying on wireless emergency alert systems, like the emergency alert system itself, and radio and stuff like that. So that's what they're saying. That being said, you have at least 111 people dead. That number probably will continue to increase. And people are looking for someone to blame. We've seen videos over the last couple of days of residents confronting the police chief. I wouldn't want to be the fire chief in Lahaina. People are looking for someone or some people to blame. They're trying to make sense of this tragedy. And it's pretty clear that something went horribly wrong. No doubt there will be a full review of all of this stuff. And over time, hopefully, we will get to the bottom of what caused it and what went wrong during the emergency response in such a gross way that we wound up with over 100 people dead, 111 so far. And as I say, likely to be more. I don't know. I just don't understand how an emergency system that is prepared so far in advance, that is supposed to be there, and they've got all these communities, every government agency has plans in place to deal with situations like this. And I mean, even if you look at the pandemic, it's like these plans have just been ignored, thrown in the garbage or whatever. I don't know. It's easy for me to sit here, though, and just be critical. So I'm going to be careful to try not to do too much of that, because I've seen a lot of other people online heaping blame on people. And I think we need to be a little bit careful because at least I do. I have never been to Hawaii. I don't know what the weather is like there. Really, I haven't experienced it. I've been to tropical places like Jamaica, so I have sort of an inkling, but I don't know the communities there. And I can't even really get a bead on the scale of this tragedy because video is in itself misleading. Still pictures are misleading. The media images focus on, just areas, right? So I can't tell how big the area is or how small I don't know. And even the maps don't give me a true sense of the size of this thing. The statistics do, the numbers themselves, but visually and in my head, I'm having a hard time really kind of quantifying it. I need more time to process it, I guess. And as always, I'm just always very skeptical of everything I'm seeing in the media. So that's kind of where I'm at with that stuff. Um, there was this fellow who, I think this guy kind of sums up the way a lot of people are feeling tonight. This is a senior from Lahaina who is fed up with the government response. Here we
So
go.
let us get back to our Aina. We can survive. If the United States government don't help us, maybe Japan going, they love Hawaii. Maybe one other country, but if they can freaking take care of Ukraine, yeah, $40 billion go to Ukraine. Fucking shit ain't coming to us. What the fuck? My tax-paying money for 60 fucking years don't mean shit. But they're gonna take care of Ukraine, 40 fucking billion. But nobody's still here to take care of us. We're suffering. All this shit we gotta do on our own. Now they come. Oh no, we like political. Oh, FEMA coming, Red Cross coming. None of these caravans can come in. Oh, political. When I hear you guys talk, I mention some names. I don't more love for you guys. You guys full of shit. You guys reading something up on paper. I never feel sincerity or emotion. But my sister died. The first picture they saw of somebody dead was rough. Oh,
Yeah. Yeah, I can't get a sense of how big it really is. I just don't know. Because, some of those pictures just sort of the video is focused on sort of a street, or an area, but I know that it affects a much broader expanse. That whole town, basically, if I'm reading things properly and seeing things the way I think I'm seeing them, essentially the whole town is gone. Whereas that accurate? I don't know. I'm going to continue to take a look at it over time to try to get a better sense of how big this thing was. The worst part is the people who have died. Unacceptable, really. Obviously, somebody really screwed up. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, I'm going to give you some info on cryptocurrency and a little perspective that may give us an indication of where all of that is going as we head into a new digital age for money.
Maverick News. The world is watching. Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News, Maverick News. Defending free speech, free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
I am beginning to think Canada may be the most crypto unfriendly country in the world. I received this notification just a short time ago from Coinbase, as many others have this evening. Important update regarding RAI. Says DAI and USDT in Canada. Says we regularly monitor the assets in our exchange to ensure they meet our listing standards. Based on our most recent reviews, Coinbase will suspend trading in Canada for RAI, Reflex Index, DAI, and Tether, which is USDT, at the end of this month, August 31st, at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. The trading suspension will not affect customers' access to those cryptos, those crypto wallets, which will remain available for deposit and withdrawal functionality after the trading suspension. So they're not going to carry those on their exchange anymore. What is that all about? Well, in an August 17th email notice to users, which is today, this statement was released saying just what I wrote to you, which is what I read to you. And this is a response to, I believe, Canadian government regulations. So, earlier this year, fellow digital asset exchange Crypto.com delisted Tether. The Ontario Securities Commission banned Tether in 2021, though it never explained the rationale behind the ban. I can tell you, too, that the Ontario Securities Commission, which affects just the province of Ontario, also basically took steps to get rid of Binance. And that goes back now at least a couple of years. And Binance is one of the largest crypto exchanges in the world. And I'll have more to say about that in a moment. So on February 22nd, the Canadian Securities Administrators, or CSA, published a notice requiring registered crypto exchanges or those pending registration to sign legally binding undertakings with the regulatory body. Among other items, the undertaking requires let me just see this statement here. Well, they are looking at these cryptos as there are regulations in place now that basically put real restrictions on how crypto can be used in Canada, how investors can or cannot buy, sell, trade. So there are real restrictions, for instance, on margin trading now and leveraging investments in cryptocurrency. So Tether is a stable coin backed by fiat reserves. Meanwhile, DAI exists as a hybrid between a fiat and algorithmic stablecoin, and RAI, on the other hand, is an algorithmic stablecoin. It's not pegged to any particular asset. Currently, the only stablecoin approved in Canada by the Federal Regulatory Agency for listing on centralized crypto exchanges is USD coin. So, with those new regulations in place, the crypto exchange OKX withdrew from Canada back in June. And this is what I'm getting at too, Binance, that pulled out of Ontario not long ago. Well, maybe what is it, 2 years already? Maybe they pulled out of Ontario. Now they're going to pull right out of Canada completely by the end of next month. That's a pretty serious blow to this new, I would say, economic culture of cryptocurrency. Binance is actually the largest crypto trading platform. And now they're pulling out of Canada. Now, in Canada, some people are speculating, thinking that Binance is doing this because they want to try to put pressure on Canadian regulators, on the government, using their size in order to get concessions or roll back some of these regulations that are going to be governing cryptocurrency trading. But in Canada, Binance is only the third largest cryptocurrency exchange. So it's not really clear how much leverage they really will have with the government. And honestly, I don't think the government gives a darn. I think they're glad to see Binance go. Binance is, I believe, based in China. I did use Binance to dabble with a little bit of cryptocurrency to educate myself and learn how it works when they were legally allowed to still trade in Ontario. But the regulations became very restrictive. They shut everything down in Ontario. I can tell you that I was relieved that they allowed people to still withdraw all of their funds. It was not a scam, so you could get all your Bitcoin out. And the safest way to deal with crypto is to not leave it in an exchange like that, because when your money or your cryptocurrency is in a digital wallet that is attached to a cryptocurrency exchange, it's still vulnerable to loss. If the exchange folds, then your money or your crypto is gone. So the best thing to do is get a hard wallet, something that's separated, that only you have the codes to, sort of like a wallet that you put in your back pocket, but it's digital. And then all the codes are on that device, which is what I have too. Not that I have very much. I only have maybe $200 or something in cryptocurrency on my hard wallet, but there are a few different ways to do that. So the bottom line is Binance is leaving the country, and they have announced this. They're telling people, and they are telling everyone that they will stop operations in Canada by September 30th. Now, there will be provisions in place to allow people to withdraw their funds, their crypto. But my advice to you is that with this coming, you want to get your money out of there to protect yourself. Get your crypto out. If you have any with Binance, get it out of there. Well, the getting's good. Not that they seem to be in any kind of financial distress, but we've seen other crypto exchanges fold up. So it might be a wise thing to address that just the way I said. So that's that. What else do we have for you tonight? It is now 6:47. We're going to have to jump off YouTube and Facebook, I think, because we're going to start getting into some subject matter here that, I'm just not sure where it is going to go. I guess I could run. I don't want to run these clips of Trump addressing the election stuff on YouTube or Facebook. They may not like what he has to say. So let me get you guys the Rumble link, and I'll post it in the chat. It is in the description as well, but here, this one will take you directly to tonight's programming. Here's the main Rumble page. Chat in there. Below Mavericks. And I'll put the URL in the chat over here, so everybody can follow us over to Rumble. Rumble link. There it is. Coming your way, and it's away. There you go, guys. So if you want to continue watching the show, and I hope you do, click on the Rumble link, follow us over there, subscribe as well. Subscribe over on Rumble. If you're on YouTube right now, you can still subscribe on the YouTube channel. We will still be broadcasting on here, but just less when we start getting into some of these other areas because of censorship issues. We will be going over to Rumble. And we are still on Odyssey and Twitch and, a few others as well. But Rumble is the big one. That's where we need to be, folks. That's where we need to be. And we will always have our website as well. So that's an option. But Rumble is the place. So there's the link. I'll post it one more time. Going to take a break, give people a moment to migrate over there. And then we'll pick up the broadcast on the other side. Stay with me.
Exile. The Knights of Malta. Maverick News. Join us. The world is watching.
The New World Order. Government overreach. The Great Reset. Mainstream media lies. Now more than ever, independent voices are needed. Donate now, at freedomreporters.com. That's freedomreporters.com. Maverick News. The antivirus program. For your mind.
Okay, time to leave Facebook and YouTube. Sorry, Facebook and YouTube. Gotta go. See you guys over on Rumble. There's one.